I want to go over something that is in regards to the World Tournament that I found pretty interesting and I think is actually pretty useful. As someone who has played this game for 9 years from release, I mean, there's some tips in here that, actually were helpful to me, which is either something that is very niche and very good, or maybe I'm just a casual on the low, who knows. So I found this tweet a while ago, last month actually, at the end of that current World Tournament, where someone who, at the time, if I'm not mistaken, was the top ranking individual in the World Tournament, was sharing some of their tips, some things that were pretty obvious to me, and then some things that weren't. So he kind of goes through and says, hey, listen, higher team cost does not necessarily mean more points. Though there might be some correlation, a higher cost team can score worse than one with a lower cost. Now, I didn't really understand what he meant by this at the time because, I usually will pick a team with a lower team cost sometimes, just knowing I'm going to eat the points. And that's a decision I make because sometimes it's just faster and more fun, whatever the case may be. But I didn't really get what he meant by this. But as I went through here, I'm starting to believe it a little bit more. I'm starting to become a believer. He then goes on to say, listen, the points you earn for defeating enemies in World Tournament varies depends on the enemy's unit rarity and level. And that's very true because one thing I've noticed is that you will take a huge hit deduction when you're running against enemy teams that have like a Chiaotzu or that gay Power Ranger that's there. It'll just basically be a lack of points, whereas if you go against a team that has easy ALRs, that's the absolute best. If you can get a team with all easy ALRs or mostly easy ALRs, the points are ridiculous. So that's something to keep in mind. It's something I didn't really think about too much other than just thinking about team costs, because that's the thing. Easy TURs is better than TURs, and Easy LRs are obviously better than LRs, but I don't know the ranking between an Easy TUR and an LR. So an Easy TUR perhaps has more points than an LR, but I'm not sure on that. I don't know the individual breakup of points. He then says defeating enemies with type advantage attacks earns you bonus points. This also activates on critical hits, so full crit builds on AoEs is highly recommended. I did not know this. I thought this was not true except for, if a tech attacks an AGL, that's point preference. I didn't know crits were that important. As a matter of fact, I had my Piccolo Jr. built in such a way where it had like 20 plus additional, and I reorganized that, spending 3 DS. Very cool, Dokkan. Basically, taking a couple additionals and turning it to crits. So now there's 17 crits, so a little bit more chance of criticals. That's actually pretty important, and I didn't really think about that. He also says the best strategy for war tournaments is to go as fast as possible with AoEs. From there, he goes on to say, hey, a good pace is when you're earning about 4,000 points per second, so take this into account when doing this. With 1 Piccolo Jr. and 2 Ghost Ushers, you should never really need any stunners, and that's true, because Chiaotzu and the Power Ranger are a significantly lower number, and honestly, if you're using AoEs, you're never going to get past turn 2 anyway. Try to avoid using orb changers, and then he goes on to say the enemies you face are tied to the team composition. That's true. So whatever team you use, you'll notice that after like 5 or 6 runs, you start to see a lot of similar teams that you go up against. And that's something to take into consideration, because a good team composition is basically something that auto-generates enemies that are good to go up against, which is kind of weird to me because I always thought that the teams you went up against were real people. I guess they are, but even though they're real people, your team takes into consideration. I think the reason why they did this, a lot of the reason, is because in earlier world tournaments, people used to be jerks and they used to like grind out their missions and do whatever they want, and then they would make a team of all Cybermen so that when you fought them, you pretty much got nothing. I haven't seen that in forever, so I'm assuming that that was done to counteract that. He says that the enemies a team faces are universal, so you can copy a team with high scoring enemies, and you'll also find those same enemies. Interesting. The enemies a team faces are universal, so you can copy a team with high scoring enemies, and you'll also find those same enemies. So that's pretty interesting. So I guess the tips that are being here, and this is something that he mentions that I never really thought about, is that when you fight people in the World Tournament, there's something called a battle score, and that'll tell you how good a team is and how high they rank. So depending on a team's battle score, which is not the same as your team cost, you could basically copy paste that battle score and you could basically find yourself in a better situation. So I think that's something to keep in mind as well. If you want to like switch up your team, you can look at enemy teams, and if you get a lot of points from them, that means you too would probably find other teams with good points. Look out for enemies without LRs and easy ATRs. Yep, that's true. To see how well an enemy score points, this is where he's talking about the battle score at the end. Maximum battle score is about 39k points. A good battle score should be around 30 to 39k. An optimized C can bring your points per win from 1.2 million to 1.5 million. Yeah, so this is one thing that I did, right? Is that I did try out his team. He specifically said to try out this team. The team is being Piccolo Jr. is leader. Then you have the STR, TUR Piccolo. Then you have the Vegeta and the Nappa, which are actually pretty damn good. I don't know. Their attack stat is really, really high. And then we have the LR Majin Vegeta. I have him at 55%. I just bring him for the seeds mostly. And then I do have a 79% or, yeah, I think 79% or at least 69% LR Grade 8 Vegeta. And then we also do have Future Gohan. And he mentions that with this team, if you really want to, you could basically keep the team the same with these 5 AoE units. And if you want to re-roll enemies, you could change out that Future Gohan. He says, hey, if you don't have the exact same 6 units, the strategy won't work. You'll have to find another seed by replacing LR Future Gohan. So, like, as you go and put different spots for that 5th or 6th character, you're going to end up seeing different enemies. But I guess because everyone else is a similar team composition, you end up having a situation where the enemies you go up against are similar, I guess. Also, all these units are awakened to the maximum. That's extremely important. You have to have them all Easy Aid or LR'd. The characters are contingent on their awakening, as well as the team cost. So let's go through here. Let's go through a World Tournament run. And I'm going to be honest with you, I did 6 runs with 3 different teams to try to get a feel for this, to see, you know, if the magic was really magicking. And over 6 runs, I'm not going to lie to you, it didn't seem that magical. So this was a new team that I created, and this team's team cost is 443, pretty damn high. But what I always used to use in old World Tournaments, and what I was using early on for the first 10 wins of this World Tournament, is this team, because I feel like it's pretty reliable, it's pretty lazy, for the most part, it's pretty easy, but the team cost is about a difference of 80. So we have 443 versus 368, so obviously you're going to get less points. What you're going to end up seeing with this team is you're going to see a lot more Chaozus, you're going to see a lot more Power Rangers, it's going to be lower team costs in general. But what's actually interesting to me is that over 6 wins, I did not see a huge uptick. I did not see a huge difference in points. As a matter of fact, the quote-unquote best team to use for World Tournament, this team right here, ended up scoring either similarly or the least over 6 runs. But 6 runs is not that much. I mean, it's not like we're doing 100. I mean, really, if we wanted a sample size that was decent, you probably would want to run like about 100. But here's one thing that I did see, and I believe this, because I'm not going to lie to you, I was going to make this video after doing those 6 runs. I was going to be like debunking this guy who was the #1 World Tournament individual, who obviously knows what he's doing. Obviously, it's just all correlation and causation. It's not real. It's not really a good team. It's actually different. But after seeing 2 things, right? 2 things. One is that on aggregate over 6 different runs, so when I say 6 runs, I mean full World Tournament runs, the point difference didn't look huge. For the most part, it was about 6 million and change. It wasn't anything that was too crazy. But one thing that I did notice, so as you can see that battle score right there, if you see it at the top, 19,237, that's pretty mid. Most likely the reason why that was so mid is because of the fact that we didn't get any crits. If we got some crits, we'd be cooking. So let's actually see here. We could actually potentially try to get some crits with this guy. And honestly, I don't mind the... let's see. Nah, actually, let's just do this. Because I added crits to this Piccolo Jr., so we should actually get some crits from this. So that's good. That's point preferential. That's good, that's point preferential. That's good, that's point preferential. That's not point preferential, that's not point preferential. Neither is that. So these point preferential actually are not the biggest deal. Like, it's not the end of the world. Obviously, as you can see here, 19,000 versus 27,000, it's a difference right there. But what you're about to see is this guy right here. I've seen this individual multiple times. All easy ALRs. This will get very close, or should get very close to 100K just for this on the battle score, because they're all EZA LRs. Now let's see, it might not crit that much. The crits will add to it, but it's not necessarily the most important thing. Even without crits, I think the battle score is going to be, not 8. I said 100K, my bad. I meant to say high 30s, like 35K. 28,123. 30,000 in general. Okay, so it wasn't as high as it was. I guess those crits do add up. So let's see what the actual battle score at the end here is. I'm assuming 80 something, 82,000. So as you can see here, at the end, we have 82,000. Now, in a different scenario, in a different reality, I did run this. I had that team with all those EZLRs, and I ended up getting 39,000 off that one because I got a couple crits. I basically got lucky. So I think that this team composition thing is legitimate because of 2 reasons. One, it's because of that. As you saw, that team was all EZLR, so you do have a chance of basically getting more points. But also, I think what's important is that you now see the team composition be different. So for that preliminary, there was no Chiaotzus at all. They didn't exist. There was no... let's see, let's actually use a Takoyaki Makaki here. Hey, very nice. I like this Piccolo's animation, even though the Ant Piccolo is technically better for 2 reasons. One is because you do have more turn count, I think, so like every time you do an attack, it's more. But this STR Piccolo, I don't know, bro just be critting. I don't know if bro has like a passive built in for crits, but man, bro be critting, bro. Bro be critting. For the most part, the thing that was the biggest benefit is that I saw that the enemy teams didn't have Chiaotzu, didn't have the Power Ranger. It basically was at the point where you have a higher opportunity to get more points. So I think that over the long run, this will do a big change incrementally, like on a very like small level, like in the sense that, you know, instead of getting 1,000,000 points per run, which is pretty much, if you have a decent team, that's pretty much what you're going to be getting with the bonuses and everything else. You're going to get about 1,000,000 per run. But if you were to basically do this extremely autistic, extremely specific team composition, you're going to get teams that are more than likely going to produce more points over the long run, so that you will eke out other people. Like in your local, you might end up beating them, you know, if it's only plus 100 or plus 200,000 per run. That's pretty significant if you keep running at the same rate, because what's going to end up happening is that over 10 runs, that's 2 million. You know what I mean? That's basically you're beating them by 2 runs over every 10 runs. So I haven't seen that on a statistics perspective, because again, like I said, I did 6 runs and I didn't see a huge difference, but I've seen that anecdotally on a individual basis where, you know, there was like a lot of points that came out and the teams look different. So I believe that, because in the words of the wise and very lizardious Jeff Bezos, he said that if the statistics are telling you one story and the anecdotes are telling you another, you usually go with the anecdotes, because sometimes you look at things from a fine grain where, you know, over 10 runs, it doesn't look like much is happening, but there's that small inkling of points that you're leaving on the table. Thus then, you're being left behind. Thus then, you know, at that point, you might as well start taking a shower and bathing properly, because, you know, what are you, a normie? What's wrong with you? There's something wrong with you. But yeah, this actually is pretty easy, and I think that, oh, you saw that right there. That was 36,000 battle score, which is pretty good. That is pretty good. So far, I think the highest you can get is 39,000, which is pretty significant. And I think, just to give you an example of this and the power of this team composition, is that I'll go ahead and I'll run the more costly team, because this team specifically, the cost is 406. The other one was, I think, 443, which is significantly higher, or at least it is higher. And you'll see, just starting off when I go in here, that there will be some Chaozus, there will be some gay Power Rangers, there will be some people here, and this is something that's very telling. You see that leader right there, that 23rd World Tournament Goku? I see him a lot with this team, which basically tells me that by using this team, I swap out the LR, there you go, Chaozu, right there, Chaozu. I did not see that with the other team. And we can go back and run that one more time, just to give you an idea anecdotally of what this is. But that Chaozu is going to eat into our points. Now, I'm assuming with this, I'm not seeing any crits. This is looking like a 14,000 battle score maybe, or maybe 15,000. Let's take a look at the battle score right now. Too preferential, maybe like 16,000, 19,000. Not terrible, but that easily could have been like 23,000, 24,000 if we had gone the route of, what do you call it? The original team we're using, because there's no Chaozu. But this is important right here. This team right here, just a second ago, was all LR EZAs. Now we have regular TUR, potentially an LR EZA. I'm not sure about that. LR. More than likely an EZA TUR, LR, and then EZA. I think this is an EZA. It's kind of hard to tell. It technically could not be, since that's like the friend unit. But that's pretty important, because now we know for a fact, like, that LR 2000 Day Goku's not here. Like, he's just not in the picture. And because he's not in the picture, we're now in a scenario, in a situation where this team, you know, we could get all crits, and if we got all crits for the other team, we would have gotten more points. It's just that simple. So let's go ahead and see. This is all crits, looks like. Got lucky here. I'm gonna go ahead and guess this is gonna be 32,000 maybe? 29,000, okay, yeah, so that's actually a big deal, and the reason why that's a really big deal is because this team, at its full capacity, gave me 29,000, right? But if that was that LR team with all LRs, it would have been closer to 39k, because those characters give so much more points. So that's the thing. And notice we're going by battle score, because you see I'm picking up these bonus points. We're getting like plus 20,000, which is significant. That's basically one more battle, right? So on aggregate, it might look like, with all these, you know, bonus teams and all these different things, it might look like that, you know, it's not that big of a difference, but there is a big difference. It's a big difference because on average, when you do the preliminary, and the preliminary is the important part, because that's where you're going to see the teams. That first team had a Chaozu, that's a L. You're also going to see the team where that team right there, we have 23rd World Tournament in those units, as opposed to the LR. The LR 2000 Day Goku, which is way better because that team was stacked with LR EZA characters. So you are basically doing extra work for no reason. And honestly, for me, like right now for World Tournament, because it's a Piccolo Junior meta, that was a really good clear point, by the way. The clear amount was 95,000, but remember, we picked up 4 bonuses, right? I don't know if it'll actually say how much the bonuses are. Map score plus 15k, was that it? Maybe that was it. I don't know. But look at the battle score. 51,820. That's pretty bad, actually. 51,820, as opposed to our last battle score, which I don't remember, but go ahead and rewind. It probably was more than 51,000. As a matter of fact, let me stop the video and I can come back and I'll know for a fact whether it was better or worse than 51,000. So, quick editor note, when going between these two different video clips, I mentioned in the following clip that the first fight with the perfect team basically got a 70k-ish battle score, whereas with this team it was a 50k-ish battle score. Although that is technically true, you have to take into consideration that we fought a bonus team, and bonus teams will give you lower battle score, but they give you an actual bonus, which inflates your overall score. So technically this comparison is not fair, but I'm going to leave it in because I did a hilarious VAR impression, so I think that's something that people need to see. Alright mates, I'm back from reviewing the VAR, and the conclusion is concise. It is the fact that the last run with the super secret amazing team did about 74,000 in battle score, Whereas this one was a measly 50,000. Now, obviously, the first one we ended it with like 85,000 battle score. And this one we ended with about 100k or close to 100k. But you have to realize that, what do you call it? That, with that, we did a lot more map bonuses. So that's something to take into consideration. So it's actually worse because we are basically leaving 20k on the table, because what would have ended up happening in that same scenario with the other team, and remember, we did not even get like a good crit on that LR Easy A team. We would have ended up getting, like, if the same scenario happened, we did everything exactly the same, but the only difference is that those characters were different. We basically would have had 120k for that preliminary as opposed to 90, which is pretty significant because, again, 20k is going to basically translate into over 10 runs to 100k, and that's just the preliminary, right? If we're doing 20k per run of these that you're leaving on the table, that's 100k. So over 10 runs, that's a million. A million is equal to one full run. So one full run is basically being left on the table on average when you do this. Now, obviously, you know, depending on if you hit bonus teams, if you pick up the map bonuses, you're going to get different points. But the thing is, that does take time too. You got to think about the time investment. And in general, you want to do things that are going to give you the most points. It's basically like, I'll give you an example. I used to work at a company. It was a pretty good company. And the most money I made was, I think it was like 65k, right? 65 grand. Not bad. Not a bad amount of money. Very good starting out of college. But the thing is, just because I went and applied to a different job, they ended up giving me damn near double the salary, and I was doing the same work. So basically, I was optimizing incorrectly in order to get that bag, and thus then I fumbled the bag. So this is the same thing here. Why would I use this team that is basically taking the same amount of work but getting less points when I could use the other team and get more points and be able to escape the void that is reality? So that's really the important part here. That's really the thing to take into consideration, is that you're basically going to do the same thing. Like, literally, if you're having an ideal rotation, Piccolo Jr. is going to go ahead and insta-kill everyone. If you are going to be you know, get stuck, quote unquote, like the worst case scenario is if for some reason you are on a turn where you don't have, first of all, you got six AoE units with friend, right? So you really should not be getting stuck, period. But even if you were to get stuck some way, somehow, the algorithm in such a way where the best AoE, the worst AoE you're stuck with is AGL Majin Vegeta, which he's not terrible, but for me he's 55%, he has no crit, which, you know, obviously no crit means no preferential points. You can use the Takeoki, or you can use Broly's girlfriend, I forgot her name, whatever her name is, and you can basically get out of that. So regardless, and by the way, you got to use Ghost Ushers in the final. The final is where where your units will sell, and their units will basically be buying like no tomorrow. Like, it's ridiculous, dude. Like, it's nasty work, honestly. It's really nasty. Let's see here. How much crit does this gentleman have? 11. Okay, that's honestly, that's enough. I feel like 11 crit is decent enough for me to let bro cook. Go ahead and cook, brother. Get at least 2 crits and I won't feel like a clown. Yeah, it seems like this person who, surprisingly, this person who came first place in the World Tournament actually knows what they're talking about. For me, it's kind of hard to understand because I don't really understand the whole, like, team seeding thing. I always was under the impression that team cost was the only thing that mattered. I didn't think that your team composition mattered at all whatsoever. Like, I didn't really get that. Like, I could understand if he said, like, a rainbow units, like, oh, no matter what the team cost is, make sure you have an AGL, SDR in a FI unit. That way you have more diversity in characters. Thus, then you are more likely to find the units of interest. But no, that's not the case. It's actually based off the characters, and I think it has less to do with the characters and just more to do with the enemies. You know, like, the only reason you would use this team is literally the enemies that show up. And I guess one thing to take into consideration is what he said is inversely true, is that if you are going to be going up against these enemies, these different individuals, and you are basically now in a situation. So yeah, this is a way better team, dude. You have an LR, easy LR, easy LR, easy LR, TUR, easy TUR. So this points right here should be crazy. I'm gonna go ahead and let STR Piccolo cook, because I swear to God, bro be getting crits out the butt. I don't know what it is about bro, but he just be getting crits. I know that I did add crits to the int Piccolo, but every time I let STR Piccolo super, bro be getting crits. So who am I to stop the cook from cooking? You know what I mean? Like, he's out here cooking, bro. As you can see, he's cooking. He's literally cooking right now, bro. He's got to have guaranteed crits, and I'm slow. He low-key doesn't have guaranteed crits, and I'm slow. That's low-key a fact. So, I really am slow. As you can see here, that battle score 34,000, that's pretty damn good. That's pretty darn great, actually. Let's see what here. We gonna see any Chaozus? Absolutely not. Easy LR, easy LR, easy TUR. TUR, easy LR, easy TUR, I think, is that Topo, I think? I don't really know, honestly. This right here should get us at least, depending on the crits, it should get us 20k, probably. The team cost is good, but no crits means no bonus points, so this might just be a low lead. I don't know. Let's see. Could be pretty bad. 22k. All right, not too bad. Honestly, that's not the end of the world. So I guess one thing to take into consideration is that if you can read, I can't. I personally, I don't know how to read. But if you can read, you want to be using this STR Piccolo for the reason that he is going to get crits. I think let's attempt to read the passive really quickly. Attack of the chance of performing a critical hit plus 20% when facing only one enemy. Frames a critical hit once only when facing 2 enemies. Okay, so I'm just completely slow. Bro just absolutely is a monster in World Tournament. So that is actually pretty damn good. I always let bro super because he crit, but now I let bro super because I know he crit. It's not just a feeling, it's a fact. So there you go. So that's actually pretty significant. So this team right here has some easy TURs. Has, I think, you know what I just realized? I wonder, super easy exists, and that Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks might have been a super easy A, honestly. What do you want to guess this team cost or battle score is? All crits, everybody here. I'm gonna go ahead and say the battle score is gonna be 34,000. Let's see. 26,000, that's trash. Okay, that team composition was not that good. I guess it's kind of based off the fact that certain units will give you more points. So let's see. So we got 90,000, and we got no bonuses, by the way. So that is really good. 90,000, and we got no bonuses. As you can see, the battle score there was 83,000. So see, that's the thing that's hard about this, is that it's hard because you're still gonna run into luck no matter what, right? So for example there, like, say if you were to, I guess that's one thing to actually think about is, you know what, now the map formation and preliminary is actually pretty important, because think about it like this. You have a guaranteed setup, right? Like, so if you look at the bottom right of your screen, that rotation, it'll tell you where STR Piccolo is. You probably want STR Piccolo to always be the person taking the super, if not for Piccolo Jr. Piccolo Jr. has a chance to crit, but STR Piccolo is guaranteed to crit. So by knowing that, if you're basically looking at the map and you're like, okay, this team is the team that looks like they're gonna, it's 2008 Goku leader, it looks like it's gonna be all easy LRs, you're gonna get the most points for them. Try to encounter that that team when you have STR Piccolo on rotation. So that means, if you look at the bottom right, it's like, oh, STR Piccolo's not in rotation, just go after another team, because you can do that, you can choose on the map, and then after that you can move up. So as you can see there, that right there was 36,000. That was a 2008 Goku, which is an easy LR more than likely. You know what, now that I think about it, I wonder if like the next 1,000 days, is it 2,000 or 1,000? I don't remember. I wonder if the next 1,000 or 2,000 days, if that Goku will get a super easy. That'd be pretty cool. If that guy got a super easy, that actually would be pretty cool, not gonna lie. And I gotta be honest with you, I think it's very cool that this guy Lotad basically let this information slip, let it out. He's not, you know, gatekeeping it, because at the end of the day, he's the guy who's going to, no matter what, excel in any scenario, because he's got the dedication, he's got the drive. This is like if Cristiano Ronaldo told you to eat right, exercise, do calf raises, and do all these different things in order to base. Oh, look, this guy's running my team, the same exact team. Wow, that's interesting. Let's see how many points we get out of this guy, because that's me. That's me, by the way. 28,000, 30,000. That's not bad. That is not bad. But yeah, he's basically Cristiano Ronaldo, Lionel Messi. He's telling you the secrets, but in his mind, he knows that you don't have the dedication like him. Because I'm going to be honest with you, the only reason I have so many wins in this is because I went to yesterday, and dude, I took a bus there. Oh my lord. Oh my god. That was an absolute positive, oh man, that was a fumble. And I took the Mexican bus, and if you don't know the difference between like the city transit and the Mexican bus transit, they're private buses, but usually the dudes who like run it are Mexican. They make every stop. I did not, bro. I did not know you can make stops on the highway. Like on the highway, bro was making stops. And I think it took a good, I think it really did take, unironically, I think it took 2 hours, man. I think it took 2 hours, which is crazy, because, like, it's usually, when you take the bus, it's supposed to be faster than if you take your car. So, usually, it's not that insane, but it was nuts, bro. It was crazy. It was absolutely positively nuts. And by the way, with this, STR Piccolo, I think that because he crits, he'll cook everyone. But if for some reason you think he's not going to cook everyone, you could always go and just, like, eat some Takoyakis or whatever. Ooh, damn, that was a good example right there. 39,395. That's about as good as you're going to get, because you can't get more than 40,000 right now, unless that changes with the Super Easy A meta, because, like, as more units get Super Easy A's... Ooh, you know what? Wait a second, hold up. Hold up, let me cook real quick. What if, hypothetically speaking, right? So this guy said, use this team and reset the seeds by resetting this LR, what do you call it? Future Gohan. But here's the thing, look at my team. I have an Easy TUR. I have a TUR. I have an LR. I have an Easy LR. What's one thing that's missing from this team that's not here? What's missing from this team that's not here is a Super Easy A. That's what I'm talking about. This might be a top 10 cooking moment. Terrifying Conquerors or Giant Form. Is bro in the leader group? Terrifying, Rumble Galaxy, Power Chaos, World Superbot, Inhuman Deeds Time. Alright, bro ain't in the leader skill. He ain't in the leader skill. But does that matter? That's what I want to know. First of all, it doesn't, because bro ain't doing anything. He's gonna do what Future Gohan was already doing, which is just sitting there doing absolutely nothing. Let's see if we can get higher team costs by putting the Super Easy A unit there, and like, let's pay attention. Do we see other Phi Goku Blacks? Do we see other Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks? Is it the case? Oh no, I screwed it up. I low-key screwed it up. Yeah, this is trash, bro. I ruined it. This is trash. Wait a second. Hold on. Stop. Hold on. Easy ALR. I think this guy got an Easy A too. This guy got an Easy A. This guy got an Easy A. I don't know, honestly. Okay, we almost fumbled the bag because we always got to get crit. So, this is a good example. We're going to see right now if I fumbled the bag or not, right? So, this team is all TURs and Easy A TURs, no LRs. So, let's see if we fumble the bag. If we get, like, 35,000, this is pretty good. But that ain't 39,000. 39,000 is the best you can get. So, let's see. Is this 39,000, yes or no? 21,899. Trash. Absolutely trash. I overthought it. I oversimplified it. Just leave Future Gohan there. As a matter of fact, I guess he wasn't really clear on that. He said that if you want to reset the seed, remove Future Gohan and put someone else. But I don't remember him saying put an LR there. I'm assuming you would want to put an LR there for team cost purposes. But I don't know. It's interesting because I almost want to quit and come back, because preliminary is where you're going to see all this happen. Damn, that was a trash team, my boy. 15,232. I don't understand that. Like, that's trash. What the hell? Okay. We're going to get some bonuses now, boy. We're going to get some bonuses now. So, as you can see, making that small change on one unit was actually pretty significant. So, I thought, you know, by putting a super easy A, it would basically mix in more super easy A's, but it looks like it does more bad than good. There are more super easy A's. I mean, I don't know if there are more, but I do notice, like, the Kid Buu and in the preliminary, so there's something there, but it seems like it's just not worth it. So let me drop out, come back, and we'll go to the prelim with someone who's not Future Gohan. Alright, so we are back at the beginning, we're at the prelim, and I'm really interested to see what can happen if we take out this Phi Super Easy A character, which basically was an L, and we end up picking someone who is basically, you know, just the best in terms of cost, perhaps. So let's see, this is an LR, this is just an LR. Let's see, so I put it based on cost. This is an easy ALR, so maybe this would be the thing to bring along. Majin Buu, Connected O, Bond of Firm, Battle Fate, Earthquake Fire, Bond Apparent, Accelerated Battle, Turret Skill, Final Strike. What is Bro's leader skill? That's the thing I'm wondering too, is does the leader skill matter? You know what I mean? Like, is it the fact that, like, I don't understand. Like, is it the fact that... I guess this will be a good question. So, here's the thing, right? We have an easy LR in the form of Frieza. And this is one thing that I wonder, too, is, like, why did that guy put LR Future Gohan instead of this Frieza? Because his team cost is 77. Wouldn't it be better if you're just re-rolling? Like, wouldn't you want to use this because the cost is higher and it's an easy LR? So here's the thing. I'm gonna go ahead and use this Frieza because he is on the leader on the leader group. But actually, you know what I'm gonna do? Yeah, I am gonna use this Frieza because he is on the leader group, just for the sake of using him. And I wonder if, because I'm swapping out that Future Gohan, if we're now going to have better or more trash. Oh, yo, we found the Truth DT. Yo, all right, we cooking now. We cooking now. We basically figured out. And by the way, obviously these Dokkan names are all verified. It's not like I just changed my name to Truth DT. It's not like you can just do that. Oh, wait a minute. Gay Power Ranger is not a good sign. That is trash. Oh no. Oh no, brother. No, no, no. That is a terrible sign. That is super bad. No. Yeah, no, that ain't good. Okay, so I think after this, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm going to take the route of just using that Future Gohan, because, like, I don't want to keep doing this, because the prelim is basically where you're gonna get the idea and you're gonna see everything and you're gonna know whether or not you're in a situation where you're going to get a lot of points. I mean, that was a terrible 26k, but the fact that the Power Ranger was there is not a good sign. That's a terrible sign, dude. That's a really bad sign. So let's go after this guy, because we should have Easy A, TUR, this guy here. Yes, we do. Just for the sake of my sanity, I am gonna Ghost Usher, just because I can't live a super. And when I say I can't live a super, I mean me, physically, me. Like, I can't handle that. So, let's see, this is the max points here. The bonus team doesn't really count because the bonus team, this is looking like this would have been the best cost team here, because of the fact of the matter being that the other team had a Power Ranger on it. 26k, that is pretty trash. And again, like, I'm saying that's trash. I'm just talking about it, like, from a battle score perspective, because honestly, like, we might end up ending this and with the bonus that we got on the map and also with this bonus, it might end up being like a 100K run or close to 100K, which is pretty good. That's pretty good for prelims. But it's not as consistent, which basically means it's not as good. So I think that that team is going to 10,122. Yeah, so that was pretty bad. That team with the future Gohan is super important, actually, because I was wondering if, like, for example, I was thinking about putting the 2000-day Goku in that slot and being like, okay, this 2000-day Goku has a higher cost, but he's not in this category. Because that's the thing, too. I wonder if it looks at your team composition based off of, like, your HP, you know, your stats in general, and it's like, hey, this character's not in the category, thus then your HP is not higher, thus then you're not in a certain category and you're left out. But because I took that Frieza, which is in the category, and in all reality should basically be boosting the team as opposed to hurting the team, and I saw the Power Ranger, that basically tells me we are undoubtedly getting teams that are not as good without that future Gohan. So future Gohan is actually pretty important. Wow, that's pretty interesting. So I'd assume that the category has something to do with it, but I don't even know if that's true, because like if I were to replace that future Gohan with like 5 future Trunks, they have similar categories, like is it going to be the same? I don't really want to keep experimenting, but I think that the takeaway from this is that you can definitely like go through here, experiment, you can keep swapping out characters, you can keep looking for like high cost teams and try to replicate it, because I think what it is that what you put out there is what you get. So for example, this team right here is going to be a carbon copy of my team essentially, except for that Fat Boo. Well, actually, no, this is completely nothing. I'm slow. I was looking at my team and thinking it was a carbon copy when it wasn't. I think that it's basically up to that team composition. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's the category. I don't know if it's the character itself. I don't know if it's the makeup of the team in terms of having all extreme and then one super. You know what I mean? Like, now that I think about it, that's actually pretty significant. Like, every character on this team is extreme except for... Well, actually, no, that's not true. We have STR, EZA, Piccolo, who is super, so that's actually not true. So yeah, I'm not really sure. I'm not really following what the science here is. I don't really get it. But I can say that from my experience of using that team, it looks like it really is the real deal. It really is the real deal Holyfield, where you will get more points, especially during the preliminaries. Extremely noticeable during the preliminaries. On average, you'll basically get more out of it. This looks like a decent team, except it has 23-day World Tournament Goku on it. Other than that, everyone here looks like an easy LR or LR. Looks like it, yeah. So let's go ahead. Let's pop this because we've got no links. Let's go ahead and double pop this because, come on, that's a bit laughable. 9, 6, 8. 7 green, 7 green. That should be enough, honestly. And we can do that for this guy, even though Brody has like no crit. Pop the Ghost Usher, because when it comes to selling, the finals is where your characters will sell. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I think I'll go back and I'll just go really quickly, since we pretty much went through a full World Tournament run here. Let's go back. Let me update the final slot character. 36K, not bad. Let's update the final. But hey, 36K, not bad. I bet you what would get us that other 3,000 to get to 39,000 is if that World Tournament Goku, instead of him being a TUR, if he was an LR or an easy LR, that definitely would have made a difference. That definitely would have been significant. So I think that the biggest point difference you're going to be seeing is the preliminary. That's where things are. That's where you're going to see the Chaozus. That's where you're going to see the Power Ranger guy. That's where you're going to see the lower team costs in general. So I think that's where you're going to notice it the most. At least that's where I've noticed it the most. But I'm sure throughout you'll also see it. So let's see. And I really am using that Chaozu meter as like the be-all end-all, honestly, because that's pretty obvious. Like, that's an SSR. That's like pretty clearly not good. So let's see here. All right, all LRs. This is a pretty damn good team comp right here. Let's do this. Let's do that, and we should be all right. Prelims, they usually don't super, so we should be A-okay. And this Goku and Vegeta are actually pretty damn good. I'm surprised I haven't used them earlier. I didn't know that they hit 4 million super attack stat without much support, which is pretty good. That is really, really good, because in general, 2 million plus you should be cooking, but 4 million is beautiful. Like, that's really, really good. Okay, 20,000. We didn't get a crit, so that's something to take into consideration. Like, the more crits, the more better. So let's see with this team. We are in a situation. Who has more crit? I have 11 crit. Damn, my boy got 20 crit. Alright, let bro go off. So we're in a situation here where this looks like a pretty good team. This looks like an LR. This looks like an easy ALR. This looks like an easy ALR. This looks like an easy ALR. TUR. Easy ATUR. And then that's just the friends, so that doesn't really count. 28k, not bad. That's pretty good. 30k battle score is pretty good, honestly. I think the most you can get is 100% 39k, right just there about. Ooh, let me get that. Let me get that little bonus, bro. Damn. Let bro eat. Let me eat a little bit. All right, let's see with this guy. So I'd say this looks like a pretty good team composition. The only thing is that I do see the Raditz there, which is making me throw up a little bit, but no Chaozu. So this looks pretty good. Looking at this from a point perspective, so this is the most points you can get, period. So let's see, this one right here is TUR, easy LR, easy ATUR, 25k maybe, 26k, okay. In general though, as you can see, the battle score here was 83,000. I got the 5,000 bonus. So it's still there, like it's like the point system's still there, like it's noticeable. Even on that one where like we didn't get the be all end all 39,000 amazing single run, we're still getting like 70k plus per battle score. So that actually is pretty good. Yeah, this is the team, bro. This is it. I doubted it. I did those 6 runs and I saw the points were pretty much the same, so I was really doubting it, thinking I debunked it. Now that I'm running it, now that I'm seeing the numbers, now that I am seeing the teams that I'm going up against, I believe it, bro. I believe it. Bro wasn't lying. Bro was not lying. He was telling us the truth. I was misguided for judging him. And it looks like what it all comes down to is that it's future going, bro. It's future going. And hell no, I ain't taking 3 hits to the head. Get out of here, dude. Get out of here. Looking at this, I have no idea how much this is going to yield. This is all crits, which is great. But I don't know how much this is going to yield. I guess 28k on the highest, I would assume. 28k is the absolute most. 27. Okay. Okay, all right, we getting better. We getting better with estimates, but that's pretty much it. Unfortunately, right now, I am going to give you some terrible advice. Everything I just said is about to be invalidated. I'm sorry, guys. This was a pretty nerdy video. This was a pretty sweaty video. But everything I said, everything I've done so far is about to be invalidated. Local ranking 5, overall 4K. I'm about to get dropped significantly because, boys and girls, I'm about to get off Dokkan, go outside, ride my bike, and go to the gym. It's over. It's over. Why even play the World Tournament if you're going to go to the gym? What's the point of that? How am I supposed to make gains in the Dokkan world when we're making real-life gains? That is literally the antithesis of World Tournament. That's it. It's over. It's over. The run is over. So take the information I gave you. Just like Moses, I can lead you to the promised land, but I cannot help my own self because I got to go to the gym.